All right, so we're starting a new unit and we're going to be learning about expressions. So our first lesson is on powers and exponents. And so a few things that we need to remember are the word base, the word exponent, powers, and perfect squares. Okay? So let's look at our first couple of vocabulary words. So an exponent is the number that tells us how many times we need to multiply the base number, okay? So if we have 10 to the second power, the 10 is the base, okay? The 2 is the exponent, okay? So the exponent tells us how many times we need to multiply the base. So if I wanted to find out what this answer was, I would say, okay, well, I need 2 10s. And so 10 times 10 is 100. Okay? If my number was 3 to the fourth power, the 3 is the base, the 4 is the exponent. So this tells me that I need 4 3s. And then if I wanted to multiply that out, well, 3 times 3 is 9, 3 times 3 is 9, and 9 times 9 is 81. Okay? So numbers expressed using exponents are called powers. So instead of exponent, we could call it a power. Okay. For example, 100 is a power of 10 because it can be written as 10 squared. Numbers like 100 are perfect squares because there are the squares of whole numbers. So because we're constantly using the same number, we would call that a perfect square. Perfect cubes are numbers with identical whole number factors such as 4 times 4 times 4 because there are 3 of them. That's why it's a perfect cube, okay? So you can see they've shown us a couple of examples taking something that's broken down, which we call expanded form, and putting it into exponent form by using an exponent. There are 4 6s, so 6 to the fourth power. Okay, so if you look here, the base would be 4 because that's the number that's being repeated. Okay, so 4 times 4 times 4, we call this expanded form. Then I can say, well, there are 3 4s, so 4 to the third power, this is exponent form. And then if I actually multiplied that out, then I'd get 64, and this is standard form. Okay, so different ways to write the same exact number. Okay. All right, so it says write the product of each using exponents. So if you look at letter A, okay, the base is 7 because that's the number that's being repeated. And then you count how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. So there are 4 7s. So there's your answer. Okay, look at B. What number is being repeated? 9. So that becomes your base. Then you count how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And so that becomes your exponent. So 9 to the power of 7. Okay. Okay, so the next part says write each power as a product of the same factor and then find the value. So all that's telling us to do is it write it out in expanded form. Okay, so 10 to the 5th power, that means I need 5 tens. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then it wants you to actually find the value, which is the standard form. So 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 is 100,000. And the reason I did that so quickly is, especially when you're dealing with zeros, you just count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros. And 1 times 1 is still 1. So 100,000. Okay. D, so 2.1 to the 2nd power tells me I need 2 2.1s. Okay, now this is not as easy to do without a calculator, so pull your calculator out. 2.1 times 2.1 is 4.41. So it's asking you to do two things. Write it as a product, okay, which is expanded form, and then write its value, which is the standard form. So it's asking you to do two different things for these, okay? Letter E, 1/4 to the 2nd power. So it's telling us that I need 2 1/4. Okay, so there's our expanded form. Then we want to find our standard form by just multiplying. 1 times 1 is 1, and 4 times 4 is 16. And there's your final answer. Okay, so it's really important that you read the directions. Okay, so the first set is asking you to write it using an exponent. So the base is 8, and then how many 8s are there? 1, 2, 3. And there's your answer. Okay, look at number 2. The base is 1 because that's the number being repeated. And then how many do you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so 5 becomes your exponent. Read the next set of directions. Write each as a product and then find the value. So it's asking us to do two different things. So number 3 says 1/7 to the 3rd power. So that means first we need 3 1/7. That's the first part of the answer. Then it wants you to find the value. So 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. 7 times 7 times 7. Well, I definitely know 7 times 7 is 49, but I might not know what 49 times 7 is. So get out your calculator. 7 times 7 times 7 is 343. There's nothing wrong with you getting out your calculator. Okay. Try the quiz on your own, please.